The night draped itself over the city like a silver veil. A lone woman, Luna Marin, walked along the quiet streets, the soft click of her shoes echoing in the empty avenues. Her fingers drifted to the small pendant around her neck. It was a gift she didn't remember receiving, yet it pulsed softly, as if it knew her. Her apartment was just a few blocks away, but tonight felt different. The streets seemed alive with something unseen, and every instinct in her body whispered that she wasn't alone. Inside her studio, her canvas waited. Days ago, a sketch had appeared on its surface, golden eyes staring back at her. She hadn't painted them, not consciously, yet they felt strangely familiar. As moonlight spilled across the room, illuminating the sketch, the pendant around her neck glowed in response. A shiver ran down her spine. Something was coming. Something she couldn't yet name. Far from the city, at the edge of the forest marking the Blood Moon Pack's territory, Kael Draven stood silent and watchful. His own golden eyes swept the misted tree line. The night carried whispers of movement, and a pull tugged at him. Subtle at first, then undeniable. A presence. An Omega, calling to him across the distance. Kael's Wolf stirred within him, a mix of instinct and desire. He closed his eyes, inhaled deeply, and let the ancient connection wash over him. A faint, knowing smile touched his lips. "She's mine," he whispered to the night. And she doesn't even know it yet. The following days were a blur of growing awareness for Luna. Her dreams grew vivid and strange, filled with visions of a golden-eyed man. The city streets seemed to hum in response to her own heartbeat, and shadows moved with an unsettling intent. She felt watched, though she could never see her observer. From the rooftops and dark alleys, Kael tracked her silently, an invisible guardian. Every instinct screamed at him to reveal himself, but he knew the Moonbound had its own timing. It demanded patience. Meanwhile, inside her apartment, Luna began to notice changes in herself. Her senses sharpened. She could hear whispers on the wind and feel the pulse of the city like an extension of her own body. The pendant around her neck pulsed stronger each night, its glow hinting at something ancient buried deep in her blood. Then one evening, he finally appeared, not in a dream, but in the flesh. A shadow at the edge of her balcony, his eyes golden, his presence powerful yet restrained. "Luna," he murmured, his voice low and commanding, yet somehow gentle. "You feel it too, don't you?" She froze, her heart pounding in her chest. "Feel what?" she managed to ask. "The pull," he replied. "The bond. It's calling to you, whether you know it or not." Days turned into nights, the tension stretching thin between revelation and her own fear. Luna tried to ignore it, to cling to her normal life. But the dreams, the strange sensations, and the undeniable pull of Kael's presence refused to be denied. Her ordinary world was fracturing, replaced by one of ancient prophecy and hidden power. She was learning she was more than human. She was an Omega born under a fractured moon, destined to awaken a power that could either heal or destroy the balance between the packs. And through it all, Kael's golden eyes watched over her, patient, fierce, and protective. Their destinies were already entwined. But they weren't the only ones who felt the shift in the world. Deep in the forest, beneath the moonlight, secrets rustled in the leaves. The Black Fang clan moved like shadows, preparing for a strike. Their alpha, Ronan Voss, crouched on a jagged rock, his crimson eyes glowing under the blood moon. He smelled her before he ever saw her, Luna, the Omega that Kael had claimed. Ronan's smile was sharp and cruel. "So the mighty Kael finally found her," he whispered to the wind. "Let's see if he can protect her when the world comes crashing down." His pack gathered silently around him, the forest thickening with a dangerous tension. Tonight, the balance of power would shift. Back in the city, Kael stood in his penthouse overlooking the skyline, but his mind was elsewhere. The moon hung heavy and silver in the sky. He had sensed disturbances all day, whispers of danger threading through the streets, feeding the unease that gnawed at him. He knew he had to explain things to Luna, and quickly. He found her in her apartment, her fingers brushing the pendant that pulsed faintly against her skin. He looked her directly in the eyes. "You're not fully human," Kael said, his voice firm. You're the key to the Moonbound, my mate. But you're more than that. You are power itself. Luna's chest tightened with a mix of fear and confusion. Power? She whispered. What does that mean? You'll understand soon enough, he replied gravely. But know this, your power is both a gift and a curse. And others will try to claim it. Claim you. As he spoke, the pendant pulsed stronger, the invisible bond between them stirring, weaving their fates together with an undeniable force. Just then, storm clouds rolled in, and rain began to slash against the windows like silver knives. Inside Luna's room, streaks of lightning made the pendant glow with a brilliant light. Suddenly, a sharp knock echoed through the apartment, making her jump. A note had been slipped under the door. It read, "The blood moon rises. They are coming for you." Before she could even process the words, the window shattered. Claws scraped against stone as shadows moved with lethal intent. Ronan's wolves were here. Kael leapt into action, catching Luna and pulling her away from the danger just in time. Ronan himself stepped into the storm-ravaged room, a cruel smirk on his face. He sneered at Kael. You? Control that? You are nothing compared to what I have planned. The air crackled as claws met steel. The apartment became a whirlwind of fighting wolves. Lightning flashed, illuminating the chaos. Through it all, Luna's voice suddenly cut through the noise. Stop! For a single heartbeat, time seemed to freeze. Kael and Ronan stared at each other, the tension between them electric. The pendant on Luna's chest blazed with light, and threads of pure silver energy shot out, connecting her to Kael. The Moonbound had awakened. The surge of light revealed ancient symbols now glowing on Luna's skin. She stepped forward, her voice trembling but firm and unyielding. I can control it, she said, more to herself than to anyone else. I can protect us. The world seemed to pause, holding its breath. But Ronan's cruel laughter echoed through the silence. Then, the silver light exploded outward, knocking both packs back with its force. When the light finally faded, she was gone. Only the soft rhythmic pulse of the pendant remained on the floor. Kael sank to his knees, his chest heaving as he searched the empty shadows. His mate was gone. His Luna was gone. Had he failed to protect her, his Wolf was crushed, heartbreaking. But somewhere, far beyond the veil of the storm, Luna's whisper reached him in the wind. Kael, I'll find you when the next moon rises. I will find you. It was almost a whisper, a heartfelt promise only meant for Kael's ears. Because what Ronan heard was totally different, it was a threat. She would be back to finish what he had started. The city lay silent. The battle was unfinished. The bond was unbroken. And this story was far from over.